Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Ready, Set, Replay, the ultimate video game replay podcast. I'm Daniel, joined as always by my best friend, Skylar.
Closing out the original trilogy.
The original trilogy, but not the Star Wars one, the Resident Evil one. That's right, today we're talking about Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. But we gotta go back, Skylar, to November 11th, 1999. Put on your seatbelt. It's time to go.
I don't have a seatbelt.
That's not safe.
Oh, God.
In the world of music, the top 5 of the Billboard looks like this. Number 1 is a familiar face because we are in November of 1999, which means we're real close to where we started this journey. Number 1 is Smooth by Santana, which apparently stayed around number 1 for a long-ass time because we've talked about this song a couple of times.
It's a good song.
Number 2 is also continuing a trend for the Resident Evil games. It is Satisfy You by P. Diddy and R. Kelly. We got them both this time.
Man!
Can't get away from them.
No.
Every time a Resident Evil game came out, one of these jackasses was at the top of the Billboard.
This is why they warn you not to time travel, because it's P. Diddy's stomping grounds.
Oh, it's bad back here. Number 3, though, is Mambo Number 5 by Lou Bega.
That's pretty fun.
Number 4 is Heartbreaking by Mariah Carey featuring Jay-Z. And number 5...
Jay-Z, who also recently got in trouble for something he allegedly did or did not do.
Golly, Jay-Z. Number 5 is Unpretty by TLC. Dr. Dre released his second studio album, The Chronic, 2001.
Okay.
It was called 2001, but it came out in 2000.
That's
or in
cheating.
1999, actually.
That's even more cheating.
Yeah. In the world of movies, on the 8th, just a couple of days before this, we had The World Is Not Enough premiering.
Gotta remember, that is the one...
Jameson Bond.
Denise Richards plays a nuclear physicist named Christmas Jones.
No way.
And can you guess how the movie ends? Can you guess what James Bond says at the end of the movie?
Hopefully something about a Merry Christmas and not a White Christmas.
It looks like Christmas came early.
Dear God.
Yeah.
On the 13th, 2 days after Resident Evil 3 came out, Toy Story 2 came out.
That's a good movie.
Yeah, it's a good one.
To the surprise of no one. It's a good one.
The closest Disney Channel original movie to this was on the 20th, and it was one called Horse Sense, which I watched.
That's why you watched Horse Sense. I saw it on your Letterboxd.
It's actually pretty good. Liked it a lot. It's about, it's just a classic old We Gotta Save the Farm movie, and it's real cute. The box office top 5 is as follows. Number 1 is Pokemon, the first movie, Mewtwo Strikes Back by Warner Brothers.
Very nice. Again, we're Pokemon kids. We're the Pokemon generation, but we'd be remiss not to mention how can Mewtwo strike back if we had never seen him before?
He was striking back at those who had harmed him in the lab.
That is true. That is what happened.
But
he blew them up and then never worried about them again.
Look, he sees now that the circumstances of one's birth are irrelevant. It is what you do with the gift of life that determines who you are.
Is that off the top of your head? Did you write that down?
It's off the top of my head because a politician recently said it for some reason.
Are you kidding me?
No, that's real. That did happen.
We live in a society. Go on.
You're living in a dream world, kid. Yes, but of course starring Veronica Taylor as Ash and Jay Goad as, I believe, Mewtwo, but I didn't write it down in my notes because I'm bad at my job. Number 2 was The Bone Collector by Universal. This is a movie starring a quadriplegic Denzel Washington leading Angelina Jolie to solve a serial killer crime in New York City.
Has Queen Latifah. And Michael Rooker.
Yeah. It's your favorite movie. Number 3 is The Bachelor from New Line Cinema, starring Chris O'Donnell and Renee Zellweger. It's a movie about a guy who doesn't want to get married, trying to get married, basically. Because he has to get married so that he can inherit his grandfather's $100 million inheritance.
I don't think I've ever heard of it, but now that you've described it, it sounds like the most movie to ever exist.
It's a very movie. Is Chris O'Donnell, is that Robin?
Yep.
Okay. In the world of sports, on the 19th, Evel Knievel got married to Crystal Kennedy at Caesar's Palace and then presumably jumped over it.
Yeah, congratulations, Evel.
But on the 14th was WWF Survivor Series 1999.
Now we're in our wheelhouse.
We are deep in the Attitude Era. The Rock and Sock connection had just broken up, and we are in the middle of the Big Boss Man, Big Show dead dad angle, wherein Big Boss Man stole Big
Stole
Show's
his casket from the
casket.
funeral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were a couple of notable things that happened on this card. Number one, Kurt Angle made his in-ring debut against Shawn Stasiak, and you'll never guess, won.
Yay.
There was I'm just going to say it, disgusting match. It was a, 3-on-3?
4-on-4 back
4-on-4
then. Yeah.
women's match between Mae Young, Fabulous Moolah, Tori, and Deborah versus Ivory, Jacqueline, Luna, and Terry Runnels. And I did watch this match. I watched most of the pay-per-view and then just like ran out of time. A couple of things of note. JR is an absolute fucking disgrace on commentary this entire thing. This entire match, he will not stop talking about their boobs or talking shit about Mae Young being old, which like I mean I know that she's a terrible person, but like maybe also we just leave her alone.
Jim Ross? Jerry the King.
Jerry the King Lawler.
Okay, yeah, no, I was like, well, as soon as you said JR, I was like, wait a minute, no.
Well, JR is also
that's
pretty
not
bad. He plays into it a lot.
I mean, he's
yes,
not going to
Jerry
deny
Lawler.
Jerry Lawler. Yes, that's definitely what he does. Yes,
The crowd is also disgusting. They keep chanting like "We want puppies" because one of the girls got her boobs in a uniform. Like they're not even like out. She's not any less dressed than a normal wrestler would be. These women are given the women in this match are given absolutely nothing, and then like 95-year-old Moolah pins the current women's champion Ivory in under 2 minutes.
That's what the Attitude Era was.
It's a disgrace. This match, it made me want to die.
Also, Fabulous Moolah, not a good person.
No, she was implicated in sex trafficking. So the Big Show had a handicap match, a handicap Survivor Series match, which is an elimination tag match, wherein he beat Big Boss Man, Mideon, Albert, and Viscera after having beaten the hell out of his own team on like Raw the day before. That's why he had a handicap match, is because he didn't trust his own team and he killed them. And then he killed this team too in a minute 24 seconds.
Turns out he was right to do it. He didn't need them. That means he pinned all four.
Yes, correct. Yeah. I don't know if he pinned all of them. There could have been disqualifications. I didn't watch this match, but yeah, he won. The main event was originally supposed to be Stone Cold versus Triple H versus The Rock. But Stone Cold, right before this match, got hit by a car as an angle to hide the fact that he had to go away to get neck surgery. And so they announced that his replacement was going to be the Big Show, who then won. This pay-per-view, is this the strongest that they've ever made Big Show look in recorded history?
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember the timeline here. Had he just shown up? Is he like recent from WCW?
I don't know.
Is this like a haha, we got your guy and he's now our guy?
It might be, but putting him over Triple H and The Rock sounds insane.
Let's see.
But I will say one of the other things that I read is that immediately after this, Boss Man also pinned The Rock to become the number one contender for Big Show's title. So maybe The Rock wasn't what we thought he was at this point.
No, he had been there since the beginning of the year.
I guess maybe they were just like really into the Boss Man stole his dad angle. And one other thing that happened in the world, very specific to our neck of the woods, down here in Texas on November 18th, 1999, in College Station, there was a very famous tragedy wherein a bonfire that they used to do annually collapsed and killed 12 students and injured 27 others. It is a national Texan tragedy that I don't know whether or not people outside of the state would have known about, but it was a really big deal here for a really long time. So there's actually a huge monument up in College Station about it.
Sad.
Yeah.
Why do we include the tragedies? I mean, I guess it was pertinent at the time, so.
Yeah, it's a big deal. But that brings us to the game, Skylar. Are you ready to talk about the third Resident Evil? Resident Evil 3 Nemesis.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about how it's kind of Resident Evil 2.5.
Well, it's actually funny you should bring that up. It wasn't supposed to be the third game. So the internet might get mad at me for saying this because apparently, according to what I've been scrolling through on Reddit for the last like 2 days, there's a lot of contention about this. Everyone agrees that Resident Evil 3 Nemesis was originally supposed to be a spin-off. This is known. It was not supposed to be Resident Evil 3. Code Veronica was supposed to be Resident Evil 3.
Hmm.
But people will argue to this day about what the reason for it was. Most people and every article written at the time was saying that the reason why this happened was because they had a contract with PlayStation that said that they had to put 3 mainline Resident Evil games on the PS1.
Right.
So that is sort of the predominant theory, but a lot of people for some reason have like retroactively wanted to go back and be like, no, PlayStation wouldn't do that. That's not a thing that would have happened, and have come up with 4 million other potential theories as to why this occurred. But regardless of the reason, this was supposed to be a spin-off. This was not supposed to be a mainline title. It was actually originally called Resident Evil Last Escape, which is why in the opening cinematic, Jill very
She
loudly is
talks
like,
about it.
"This is my last escape." And
Yeah,
she says it,
she
I think,
says
like 2
that
times.
every time you boot up the game, every time you die and have to reboot up the game,
Yeah,
you hear it.
which I did a couple of times in this, because this game has so much going on. Like there are so many. This is the most action game that we have played in this series, I think, so far. They throw so many damn zombies at you. It is
Of
insane. It is
of
truly
these three,
insane.
yeah, I think this is the most unforgiving one so far.
It's I was playing on easy, and because I'm a baby ass baby and I just didn't want to mess with it. I will say I do regret doing that, because easy, it's still not like easy. Like there's still parts that I got hung up on because there's parts of it that are BS, and we'll get into that later. But they give you so much ammo that it was just a shooting gallery for like
They
the
yeah,
entire game.
I think they load you up with a bunch of like every weapon that you can get, and you can still find the other ones.
Every weapon you can get except the grenade launcher or like any of the explosives. You don't start with those.
Right.
But you
Right.
start with magnum pistol, shotgun, assault rifle.
And then I believe also it gives you. There's a point in the game where Carlos gives you like an extra pack, which expands your inventory. But I
Yes,
think if you play on easy, it just starts you
you
with
just
that.
start with it. He still gives it to you. It just didn't do anything.
Yeah, it's just cosmetic at that point.
But yeah, on easy you get an auto dodge. So if you just hold the fire button, basically, then you'll dodge attacks. It doesn't work really, but sometimes you'll just randomly dodge, and it's like, oh, neat.
Yeah.
You also
Thank
get
you.
unlimited saves and double ammo. So it makes it pretty easy for the most part. Like you're never gonna get taken out by just like random goons unless you didn't bring a gun, I
Yeah.
guess. Whereas on
And
hard mode, the benefit is that you get extra guns. You get the mine thrower. You're able to pick up items when you beat Nemesis, because
yes.
you have to fight him 72,000 times in this game. And when you do on hard, he'll drop an item. When you beat him on easy, you don't get shit.
Mhm.
It also gives you access to rankings, and it gives you access to epilogues that are not in the easy version of the game. Every time you beat the game on hard mode, you unlock an epilogue that tells you what 8 of the previous main characters did after the Raccoon City incident. So it goes Jill, Chris, Barry, Leon, Claire, Sherry, Ada, Hunk. Those are the order in which you unlock them. Would you like to hear what any of those epilogues were, since we didn't get either of them, any of them? Because I think
Let's
you also
let's
played on easy.
let's hear. I did. Let's hear the epilogues. And I will say that
Which one would you
while
like to hear?
Daniel very truthfully says that he played on easy because he was a baby,
That was a baby ass baby.
and he's being very honest. I'm gonna not be honest, and I'm gonna say I played on easy because I was really crunched for time.
All right, fair enough. Which one do you want to hear? You just want to hear Jill's?
Yeah, if there's interesting ones,
I haven't
got any?
pre-read them, so I don't know.
Oh, let's read all 8. Go fast.
Okay. Jill says, after escaping the city, Jill set out to join Chris Redfield. However, all she found was an empty hideout of Chris's. On the floor was Chris's knife. Jill left without hesitation because she firmly believed that Chris is still alive. She will search for him until she finds him. Then they can go and put an end to Umbrella, as they say at the end of literally every single Resident Evil game, it turns out.
I think this game has the most comical version of that.
It's pretty funny. Meanwhile, in Chris's, it says, please forgive me, Claire. Chris Redfield has just finished this letter with his signature phrase. As he removes his sunglasses, a lady walks by him with light steps. She looks about the same age as Claire, he thinks. A short time later, Chris discovers that his sister was looking for him, but was caught. And I don't know, there's a picture. The girl's just some blonde girl in a beanie. I don't know who this is supposed to be.
Please forgive me, Claire is his signature catchphrase.
So says Resident Evil 3 Nemesis.
Hmm.
We'll do
Hmm.
Leon and Claire's, and I think we'll just call it at that.
Yeah.
Leon's says, Leon Scott Kennedy is confronted with a man who claims to be a U.S. government agent. Leon says, leave Sherry alone. She's innocent. She knows too much, the man replies. He looks at Leon and says, but you have value. This is a good deal. Make your choice. Without regret or hesitation, Leon closes his eyes and sharply responds, but doesn't say how he responds.
Uh, I'm starting to think these epilogues aren't canon.
I couldn't tell you. And Claire's
because
reads,
that would imply that he like let them take Sherry and like put her in a basement or put her down so that he could become the president's best friend, which he does canonically.
Claire says, leave us alone. Claire Redfield couldn't believe Leon's words. Leon continued, you're looking for your brother, right? Just go. Claire knew that Leon and Sherry needed immediate medical attention, but she could not waste any more time. I'll be back, I promise, she said as she disappeared into the wilderness alone.
What the fuck is happening?
I
What
don't
are
know.
these?
It's insane. It's truly insane. But yeah, there's 8 of these. You unlock them, and they seem to be largely nonsense. But this is what you unlock. The only other thing you unlock on hard mode are some skins. When you beat it on normal, you unlock 2 costumes. One is her original Stars uniform, and the other is a costume where she dresses as the main character from Dino Crisis.
Mm.
And then if you beat it on hard, you unlock a biker costume, a disco costume, and like a mini skirt cop costume.
Oh, fantastic.
So that's pretty exciting. We're all happy about that. Some big things that get added in this game are they add the ability to dodge, as I mentioned earlier. They add a
Yeah.
quick turn, which I only used like twice.
Well, how does the quick turn work for you on the PlayStation controller?
If you're holding the back button to walk backwards and you hit the run button, she spins around.
Oh, see, for me, because I was playing on GameCube, it was the C stick. You just whap the C stick and she turns around. It was very convenient.
It adds randomized enemy and item spawn locations, which isn't super random. It just toggles them between 2 different spots or 2 different potential spawns of enemies.
It's as random as they could make it, which is an interesting way to do it. I think that's neat that they
I don't
did
think it
that.
really like adds anything, but it's neat,
No.
I guess. It also adds choices in quotation marks where you can choose how to handle different situations, although it largely changes nothing. And the ability to craft ammo, which again is like, okay, well you could have just put the ammo there, but sure, make it my problem to decide what ammo I get, I guess.
I mean, it does. I think the gunpowder is cool because it's depending on what you use, what you like to use, you can stockpile the gunpowder and then make whatever you want. You're not just stuck with shotgun shells.
Yeah, but not really though, because if you get the A gunpowder, then you turn it into handgun ammo. If you get the B gunpowder, then it turns into shotgun ammo. And if you get A and B, you can combine it into magnum ammo. So like, it's not like you're getting a generic gunpowder that you can turn into something else. It's like it is pretty locked in what they are. It's like, do you want this to be handgun, or do you want to turn it into a mag? Or do you want to like combine it with something else and turn it into magnum? But you can't turn A into shotgun.
But you can add. So okay, you take the A and the B and combine it into C, and then you can take A or B, combine that with the C, and then make that grenade rounds, like varied grenade rounds, like acid or fire. Or
I
whatever.
never did that because like they were all pretty normal. Like I was getting enough grenade rounds. I didn't really need any, and also I barely used the grenade launcher. Like I didn't find any use for it.
It became my main weapon by the end of the game.
That's truly crazy. I was using the shotgun, and then when a boss happened, I whipped out the magnum, and that was it.
I did. Shotgun was my normal weapon, but then the grenade launcher was it's what I fought Nemesis with most of the time.
I think I used the grenade launcher for one fight. I used it for the second Gravedigger fight, and that was the only time I used it. That's really all I've got for like development stuff. Well, the only other part is this was being developed at the same time as Code Veronica, but Code Veronica ended up taking a little bit longer to come out.
Which is why it's not 3.
Which is why it's not, well, one of the reasons why it's not 3.
Allegedly.
But yeah, what are your sort of like top level thoughts of this game?
It's good.
Right.
I think I like some of the stuff that they added. It did make it feel a bit different. I don't believe I like this as much as I liked 2. We came away very high on 2. This one I don't think is quite up there for me, and I think a lot of it has to do with the early on kind of like map that you have to traverse. I think the city is a little bit like we talked about it with the first one. It's like, oh, the mansion's cool, and then everything after the mansion's not that cool. And then
Mhm.
for 2, I liked the police station. You liked it less, but then like everything else was equally as good as the police station. And then this one, I don't know. I feel like eventually I got the swing of it, but I just didn't really like the city streets as much as anything else.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think on paper the idea of it is kind of interesting, where it does feel a little bit open world, and
A
that's
little bit.
neat. In practice, it doesn't really work out that way. It ends up just being kind of a lot of backtracking. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of, which is probably partially due to the fact that they needed to get this one out. If that contract for like we have to put 3 on PlayStation or whatever, like that would make sense. Or especially if this is a spinoff and they maybe had like a lower budget on it,
Hmm.
and so they couldn't make like a ton of locations, because a lot of the ones that you get to later in the game, namely like the hospital and the factory, feel
Yeah.
pretty generic. Which makes
Uh,
sense because apparently the game was originally supposed to end at the clock tower. That last fight with Nemesis at the clock tower was going to be the ending of the game.
oh, that does make sense.
So everything after that was just like added on afterwards, and it does, those sections I don't think are bad, but do feel noticeably smaller.
They just casually threw in the railgun.
Yeah, the railgun's interesting. Let's talk about the 2 bosses that exist in this game.
Yeah.
We'll start. So Nemesis exists. He's basically just Mr. X. I think he looks cooler, but is more annoying. I at this point I am sick and tired of this trope of like I'm gonna fight the same boss 42,000 times. I'm bored of it. I'm
Yeah.
done.
Once again, I will say that the remakes for both 2 and 3, people really love the 2 remake. People are less hot on the 3 remake. I think it's fine.
I'm
I think
told
it's
it
good.
cuts things out, but I obviously haven't played it. So,
There is no Gravedigger in the 3 remake.
oh, well then it's a much better game.
Yeah. So yeah, they I said this like a million times when we were talking about 2, but in that remake and in the 3 remake, every time like yeah, you'll fight Nemesis or Mr. X multiple times, but there's like added differences. No, Birkin you fight multiple times and there's differences like
Yeah,
his moveset, the set piece you're in adds to the fight. Nemesis, like you'll fight him once or run from him once, and he'll have the rocket launcher. One time he'll have like a flamethrower or something. And
yeah. And then Carlos
uh,
will shoot the rocket launcher and explode it somehow. Not really sure how that works out, but it does.
yeah, he hit the rocket inside. It makes sense.
Sure. Yeah.
I think ballistically, that's very possible.
Uh,
Um,
maybe.
no, but yeah, as far as this goes, it is here he is again. Oh, they do change it up a little bit.
They
Like,
do. He does the Birkin thing where by the end of the game he has for some reason turned into a dog.
oh yeah, a little bit he does. He
Uh,
like one time he'll show up and he'll have the rocket launcher, and one time he'll show up and he has tendrils now that he can grab you with, and then eventually he becomes a big dog. So he changes, I would say, more than Mr. X does.
Definitely more than Mr. X. Maybe about the same as Birkin. Maybe slightly
Yeah.
more, maybe slightly less. I would have to like really think about it, but it's I would say it's in that same ballpark.
I
Um,
think to me the way Nemesis
yeah.
shines in this game that Mr. X didn't in the last one is the illusion that he can actually follow you through doors.
Yes,
Now, of
whereas
course,
here he can and does.
he yes he can, but I'm pretty sure the way it works is there's a set point in like a hallway that he can follow you into, but like if you stop there and just stare at the door, he can't come through.
No,
Can
he
he
can't.
not?
Yeah, he can't come through the door while
You
you're looking
he
at
has
it.
to
As
he
soon as
has to
it goes,
spawn once you're in a different camera angle.
yeah, as soon as you get to a camera angle where the door is not in sight, there's a crash and he comes through
Yeah.
because they then I guess have an animation of him opening the door or something
There is one point very late in the game in the
in the clock
clock
tower.
tower
Yeah,
where like he smashes through in a cutscene, but he turns 2 rooms into 1 room. So
yeah.
that's interesting.
There's still I think a load between, but you don't have to like click on the door, which is neat.
I don't think there was a load for me. I think I just ran straight through.
Well, you're playing on a more modern version, so maybe that was for you. For me, I still had to do a
Possibly.
load, but yeah, the door wasn't there. Had I not just played Resident Evil 2 and just dealt with this exact same trope two other times in
Mm-hmm.
the same video game, I think I would have
Mm-hmm.
come away more positive on Nemesis because I do think he's the coolest of the three.
Yeah.
But I was so tired of this guy by the end of it. Like, there's that bit you get a choice when you go to the factory where it's like where you go across the bridge to get to this crappy factory, and you have
Yeah.
the it goes to this like photo negative thing, and it gives you a choice of like Nemesis like jumps up onto the bridge, and he's like,
Yeah.
oh, stars, and then it gives you a choice of either pushing him off the bridge or you jumping off the bridge, and I was like, fuck this dude, and I pushed him off. I'm
Yeah.
so tired of this guy. Get
So
away
that
from me.
did that directly affect your ending? I think it. I think that decision does.
I don't I don't
How,
think so. The
how
only thing
did
that I
what
know
was
that
your
that changes is how Nikolai dies.
so what was your ending? How did the game end for you?
Um, I did the railgun fight,
Yeah,
and then
that's so it's the Nikolai part that changes. So
yeah,
what happened there?
I when you're going to, I don't even remember what room you're going to, but at one point he like does the Birkin's wife thing where you're walking down a hallway and gunshots happen and you like hide
Mhm.
behind a corner, and then he talks a bunch of shit, and then the lights go out and he gets pulled into the roof and dies.
Oh, so then when you went to like the final part after you fought Nemesis, the helicopter was just there, and you and Carlos pile in and leave.
Barry brought it.
So Barry is there.
Yeah, Barry flies that helicopter.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that he showed up in that version as well. For for me, because I jumped off, I
I
didn't
mean,
push him.
it's not explained at all how the helicopter gets there or why Barry's there or anything. They never even say that it's Barry. I just like recognized him.
Yeah, they don't.
But
They
it's
don't
never
say it's
explained like
Barry.
how did Carlos get in touch with Barry? How did Barry get a helicopter?
So for me, I jumped off and I went up a different way, and Nikolai makes it to the helicopter, and he's like in the helicopter, and there's like a whole helicopter fight
Oh,
you can do. Like you can like shoot. You can either like say Nikolai fuck off, and then he will, or you can say Nikolai, you're a bitch and I'll fight you, and then you like shoot grenade rounds at him until the helicopter explodes. Either way, the helicopter's gone, and you're like, "There's no helicopter." And then Carlos is like, "Don't you hear that?" And then there's another helicopter that comes up. You get into that, and that's Barry. And
oh,
once
okay.
again, they don't say like it's me, Barry. I'm here. But it's that cutscene of like, "Thanks. Who are you?" And he's like, "Don't think I'd leave you behind, Jill." She's like, "It's you."
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I definitely still had Barry, but he was just. I just got in the helicopter and he was just there.
The fact that Barry was in your ending is strange to me.
Yeah,
Was he just sitting there?
he he was not mentioned until we're flying away, and he's like, "I wouldn't leave you behind." And you're like, "Okay, where did you come from? Where did you go, Cotton Eye Joe?"
That's
Um,
interesting.
but yeah, and then the only other boss in the game is the worst boss in Resident Evil series up to this point. I hate him so much. The Gravedigger can eat my balls and ass.
So when you messaged me, and you're like, fuck this so hard, I hate this."
Yeah, do you want me to
What?
read my notes? Actually,
Yeah, go for it.
okay,
I
I'll
want to
start
know
at
which
Nikolai killed a
which
man. Oh, it was the first one. It was the first Gravedigger fight.
first. Okay.
It says, "Fuck the Gravedigger fight. This is the worst fight in the game. This is BS. You can't see anything. You can't. The moving it makes this awful. The button is tricky to line up. He won't die. He multi hits you. He can kill you in one attack. This is hell. Set me free. I'm finally out of here. Wait, what the fuck? I have to fight Nemesis now? Ugh. Okay, at least that one wasn't bad. And now there's fucking birds. I'm done. I'm out of here."
They 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 really hit you with that wombo combo.
They hit you with when you do the first Gravedigger fight, you just literally fall into a sewer, and he's a big dumb like parasite looking worm. And he pops out of random holes in the wall, which is doesn't sound that bad, except every single camera angle in which he does that, he will pop out before you can see the hole. And so you have to get down the hallway to where these holes are and hit a button to lower a ladder. You don't have to really kill him. You're just
Hmm.
supposed to like escape from him in the first fight.
Hmm.
But the movement in this game is so ass because it's tank controls that like you can't see where he's popping out. You can't really shoot him because it's off camera because of the fixed camera angles. So you're trying to just like pray to God that you can get to this button before this literal penis monster shoots out of the wall and hits you with like a 4-hit combo that can basically one hit you.
Yeah.
And you have to do it on 2 different buttons. And then when you're running from the second button, you have to hit a third button on a ladder that'll lower the ladder. And then you have to wait for the ladder to drop and then get to it again. But the lineup for that ladder is like broken as fuck. And so it's like, it's just absolutely terrible trying to get any of this to work mechanically. And because this game has like randomized damage values, it seems like, where like one time you'll get hit by any enemy and it'll do 0 damage, and then another time you'll get hit one time after fully healing and you'll be in caution already, and it's like, what's happening? Why is who made this choice? Why am I here? This is hell.
You're pulled down to worm hell.
And so you do all of this. I died to him, I think 9 or 10 times. Which is a pain in the ass because you have to basically run all the way across the city from the last save point to get there every time.
And then hear Jill say that this is her final escape.
This is my last escape. And
Yeah.
then as soon as you finally beat him, there's no saving. You get on like a train and you have to fight Nemesis again for the like 42nd time. And he's not any harder, but you're in an extremely confined space. And fortunately, I beat him on my first try because I might have not finished the game if he killed me. So his attacks are that he grabs you and throws you, and then if he gets to you before you mash the buttons to get up, then he one-hit kills you, no matter what. He has a move that'll just kill you. And so when you're in a confined space, he throws you like an inch, and he's going to pick you up immediately. It's putting those two things back to back was like, why would you do this to me? This is a personalized attack.
I did not fight Nemesis there.
What do you mean you did fight? Oh, did you just turn around and go through the door?
I turned around and I left. Mikhail's gonna blow up either way, so I was like, goodbye.
You're a coward. Nah, I kicked his ass. He's pretty easy there because you don't have to down him twice. You only have to down him once.
I will say, Nemesis for me,
was
never as hard as the first time you find him. He beat my ass like 5 times in a row that first time. Because he does that shit where he picks you up, and if he arbitrarily grabs you 3 times, which he can do if he decides to throw you and then walk straight over and pick you up again. If he picks you up 3 times, then you're done. And that's what, like, I never died like out of loss of health. It was he decided to grab me 3 times.
Yeah, he just does the finishing move and kills you.
So I
actually think once he starts transforming, it's the tentacles hanging out. When he turns into a hentai monster, he becomes like easier to kill.
He becomes progressively easier, and I think part of that is like you just have better weapons now.
That's definitely true too.
But he was never as hard as that first encounter for me. And then the first Gravedigger fight, I fell in the hole, and I'm not saying this to show you up, but there was a lot of screaming from me, but I didn't die. It was just like a lot of like, okay, okay, and I'm out.
Oh, I'm just built different. Oh, I'm so strong. I'm just kidding.
We played on the both baby difficulties, same as each other, so it's fine.
That's true. But then again, this is the only other boss in the game, and you have to fight his ass twice too, because he shows up later, like way later.
I suppose Helicopter Nikolai is an optional boss, but
sure,
I didn't fight him either. I called him a pussy, and he was like, ugh, and he flew away.
But Gravedigger's second fight sucks ass too. I only died to that one once, but
I did die to that one once as well.
Because he stays underground the whole damn time, and you're like in this graveyard. You've like fallen into a trench where you're like running back and forth, and he'll just pop up and hit you, and you have like a couple of seconds to shoot him, and then like sometimes he'll stay above ground longer, and it seems random. There is a thing you can do where if you survive the fight for like a minute and a half, which the time that I beat him, the fight didn't last half that time. It lasted like maybe 30 seconds. You can like shoot down a light pole and then it'll go into a pool of water and electrocute him. Apparently.
I didn't do that.
I guess that's a thing you can do if the fight lasts long enough. But he's on your ass the whole time, so I don't really see how that would happen.
There is very much a problem across all 3 of these Resident Evil games that we haven't really talked about. Maybe we talked about it once in one of the past ones, but like you as the player being stun locked is very much a possibility and can happen basically against anything. I got stun locked. Remember that hallway where I I think it's the same place where you find Nikolai. I don't actually remember, but there's you're coming through a hallway and then like 7 zombies just burst through the door and you can't run back because there's steam around the corner.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So because of the camera angle, I ran straight into that steam and then was stun locked in the steam to death.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I think this game being as unforgiving as we said earlier, it put me in position to be stun locked more than the either two games combined.
I would agree with that. I don't think I ever got stun locked in it, but there were definitely moments where I could like feel it coming on. You know what I mean? Like there were a couple times
Yeah.
where I would like do the auto dodge and then immediately get hit, and I was like, "Oh, this is bad. This is dangerous."
Yeah.
In particular, when I was fighting in like really confined spaces, there's like 2 times we fight Nemesis in like really tight quarters.
Yeah.
And in those fights, it's like
Or
I
those
might just be screwed.
the hunters in the hospital.
I did die to the hospital hunters the first time, and then I just every time I saw one, I just lit them up with that assault rifle.
That was another situation where because the hunter shows up in a little cutscene and shows you what he can do to you.
Right.
and then 2 hunters just start flying at you, and it was a lot of screaming from me.
Right.
And then I somehow managed to kill both of them, and it's just immediately like, I wasn't scared, you were scared.
I wasn't scared. I'm tough. I beat the Gravedigger on my first try. I got a big
Yeah,
penis.
there you go. There you go. There you go.
I do want to talk about the story on this one because it feels like it's I don't know, not a great story, but then ends with probably the most impactful thing, which is Raccoon City getting exploded by a nuke.
Yeah.
But this is like the first one that really introduces Umbrella as like character. You know what I mean? Because we get the Umbrella Corps Marines or whatever the hell they are of Nikolai, Mikhail, and Carlos, the one not Russian guy.
There's Annette Birkin in the second one.
She is, but she's just like a scientist. Like she's not really.
She
doing
she
anything.
doesn't.
And she's also like kind of broken away from Umbrella or something. I don't know. It's weird.
I guess I know what you mean in the sense that we do get a clearer picture of these guys were sent in by Umbrella and they're just as expendable as everyone else in the city.
They're expendable as everyone else, but also we get a lot of notes where it's like, oh, Umbrella is like super evil. Like in 1 and 2, we know that they're evil, but in this one, it's like, hey, if anyone wanders in here, just turn him into a zombie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they did.
This one really turns up the evil, I think, in the residents of the evil.
Yeah, there was a note that you find where they're talking about we made zombies. You know what we should do? We should capture prisoners of war, turn them into zombies, and then send them back to their camps.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, well, that's probably against the
Geneva Convention,
but
yeah,
that's all right.
That's awful. It's an awful thing to do. I will say I like Carlos well enough. He doesn't really feel very much like a character. He's just like kind of a generic action guy.
He's as much of a character as a Latino side character in a 1999 video game could be, where he's just like, "All the ladies love me, Holmes." And it's like, "I bet they do, Carlos.
I bet they do.
I bet they do."
Yeah, man. I'm sure everything's going to work out for you. I'm sure we will see you again in later video games.
Carlos is actually a character in the movies.
That doesn't count.
No, it does. That was a separate statement.
But I don't. Nikolai is interesting because I feel like he is incredibly one note, but also is probably the most persistent human enemy of the franchise so far. Because you actually see him like multiple times and he's actively trying to kill you. Like he tries to blow you up at the gas station, and then we see him kill one of the other umbrella guys. Like we see him as a human actually doing shit. And the only other person we've seen anything from is Annette Birkin, and all she does is like shoot at you and be like, "You kill my daughter," and it's like, okay.
Well, there's also Wesker in the first game, but that's more
he shows
of
up
a
like once.
Mystery. Yeah, there's definitely less of that in the original version that we have played. But the part that I'm thinking of specifically is when you find that wounded Stars guy, and he's like, "Oh no, I hope I don't get shot," and then he gets shot by someone mysteriously.
Sure would be a bummer if I got shot.
But of course, Wesker is pitiful. So
Wesker, you're pathetic, Wesker. And then he gets bodied by his own guy.
Ugh. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. One of the things that I kept coming back to, because I haven't played 6, but I know that one of the big complaints for 6 is like, oh, they turn this into an action movie. And then I'm playing 3 and I'm like, this is a fucking action movie. Like, this game starts with Jill jumping through a window because her apartment or something exploded.
Yeah.
Like, we are in the shit from second one. And then there are so many enemies and you are shooting constantly. Like, this doesn't even, to me, feel particularly like survival horror. This is like,
Mhm.
this is like one step removed from like Left 4 Dead. Like, you are shooting shit
It,
constant.
it's built on top of survival horror. I always attributed Resident Evil 4 as being the one that started moving the series into action, like a little bit.
I could
And then
see that.
definitely 5 is an action game,
Yeah,
but it's in my opinion a fun action game, and then 6 is a very crap action game.
sure.
But no, this one, like, Jill Valentine in this game is John McClane.
She is. She literally is. And like even like Carlos at one point like lights up a whole group of zombies while you're like picking a lock, or I forget exactly what that puzzle is, but like in the gas station he's taking out a bunch of guys. There's like you're going back and there's just like horde and horde and horde of zombies that keep coming up. Like everyone in this movie in this game is an action movie character.
Mm-hmm.
Except uh Barry. Not Barry. Sorry. Brad.
Oh yeah, Brad didn't get the memo that we were strong now.
But Brad, hey, only character to show up in all 3 games, kinda.
Yeah, a little bit. You see a zombie in 2, right? At
Yep.
the in front of the thing. Yeah.
Yeah. The timeline on this also like kind of confuses me. Because it's like, okay, so she goes to RPD, and when she gets there, Barry dies. So she has to be there
Brad
before.
dies.
Sorry, Brad dies. Yeah, Brad Vickers dies.
Barry does not die.
I don't.
Barry would never die.
2 B names. You know what I mean?
Barry would never die unless it's in a stupid bad movie.
Oh, that's right. He did die in that movie. You did say that earlier. But so Barry Brad, fuck, dies.
All right.
I'm sorry. Vickers dies when you go there, and then you go in, and Marvin's already dead, and all the doors
Yeah.
are boarded up.
Yeah.
So like the timeline doesn't make sense on that one. I'm very confused. The answer is like just don't think about it, but also it's like,
Yeah.
well then don't put me in the same location, bud. Like what do you want me to do?
We had the location. We had to do it.
Yeah, it's like you are drawing attention to this thing and making me be like, wait, so how does this? Because he dies and then he goes. So this has to be before, because that happens when you first get there. But then Marvin's already dead. But then But then also that one painting isn't burned, even though you can't do anything with it. But for some reason it's still there. You know what I mean?
We're stuck in a time warp. It's nothing works.
I just don't understand it. It doesn't matter ultimately at all. But it was something that I was like, wait, okay, so everyone was here? It was just every character at RPD at different points. Actually, that is one of the sort of trivia things I have, is apparently when they first debuted this at E3 in 99, it had a completely different intro that had different, like a slideshow of different pictures. And one of it was all of the survivors from the first game getting off a helicopter. And then the one afterwards was Jill and Chris specifically yelling at Chief Irons. So we get more. We got in the original version that never got released more of a story of like what these people did between 1 and now 3. Mm-hmm. Whereas in this one, it's kind of just like, this is my last escape, and I'm in a tube top now.
It's a good tube top.
It's a good tube top.
It's an iconic tube top.
It is iconic. I do appreciate that in the remake they switched it to a tank top, which is more a thing that you could wear in an action movie and not have your boobs fall out. But you know,
yeah. Well, her boobs were polygons, so they weren't going to go anywhere.
That's true. Yeah, like Lara Croft, they were very very angular and able to grip the shirt, I guess.
Well, less than Lara. Let's give Jill some credit here.
She had 2 knives in there.
She was packing heat.
So my least favorite part was anytime the Gravedigger was on screen. Did you have a part that like particularly screwed you over?
Particularly screwed me over.
Was there a part where you just got stuck and you were like, this is ass and I hate my life? Or a part where you were like, this is the coolest thing ever?
as mentioned, I got very mad at the first Nemesis encounter.
That one did
Um,
kind of suck. Yeah, especially when you
but
don't get anything for it.
yeah, yeah. Well, so like, what makes it even rougher is like you still need to, or well, you don't need to, but you still probably kind of want to get the badge off of Brad's body so you can use it inside. Um, so there's like a reason to want to fight him and not just run inside because you can just run inside. You have that option.
Yeah, well, because you get his stars badge, which lets you access the computer. But if you don't get that, you just like you get it like 3 rooms into the RPD anyway. You know what I mean? You get your own from the stars uh, room, I think, or maybe even before that.
Trying to think of another instance where I was mad. I mean, there's just a lot of like pacing back and forth and backtracking, and
Yeah,
more so than
I didn't like
previous
the part where
games.
you have to go all the way back to like Uptown, like the place where you start.
Oh man, anytime you had to go between uptown and downtown, I kept being like, where, wait, which one?
Yeah. I did get stuck for a long time at the part where you're supposed to like get the hose and then put out the fire so you can go do whatever.
Yeah,
Because I was I had finished that part so long ago that I just put it out of my mind. I was like, what am I supposed to do right now? And I pulled up an old guide that was published back in the day, literally a paper guide. I pulled up the PDF for it and I started using that. Um, which is hilarious because it has like random little interstitials in it, which is where I've pulled a lot of the trivia that I have here. But they also have like breakdowns on like what are all of the graffitis in this game mean? Like what are these Easter eggs for all this stuff? And it's pretty interesting. It's the Versus Guide if anyone wants to look it up. I don't know if it's actually good at like teaching you how to get through the game, but it has some funny stuff in it. It's worth a read if you are a fan of this game. I will say that I do think the Nemesis fight with the railgun is my favorite final fight of these three. I think it is the flashiest and the coolest. Even though I was sick
yeah.
of seeing that dude by the end of it, I think it is better than I'm going to shoot this guy with a rocket launcher on a tarmac and I'm going to shoot this guy with a rocket launcher on a loading platform.
So how did that fight go for you? Because I don't know if it went how it was supposed to, or if I just got very lucky.
So I got a rocket launcher. There's an optional rocket launcher that you can get that I only found because I was using this paper guide. Um,
Oh, okay. There was points leading up to this where I was like, where can I use this key for, or it was a key or a key card or something. I was like, where do I go? Fuck it, I don't care. So
yeah,
that must be what it was leading
so
to.
there's a faculty key that you can get that has like a little extra tag on it, and there's a
Yeah,
part when you go into that one room where you can do like the water treatment puzzle, whatever the fuck. There's another computer in there that you can put that key in, and it'll like reformat it to be able to open a thing. And then when you get the key card
I
after
see.
you kill Nemesis,
That's the step that I missed because I found the door that was like, there's a little slot for a tiny
yeah,
thing, and I was like, this is a tiny thing, but it wouldn't let me use it, and I was like, I don't
yeah.
care.
So in that locker is a rocket launcher with 4 shots, which is almost enough to get Nemesis, that final form Nemesis, into the point where he has to go and eat the other like dead tyrant corpse, which is directly in the way that the railgun shoots. So I shot him 4 times
I
with that,
see.
and then pulled out the magnum at him like twice, and he ran off and started doing that. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll push all these batteries in, and then he literally just sat there eating the other tyrant until the railgun shot his ass twice.
Okay, cool. For me, as soon as he showed up, I ran straight to the batteries and just started doing it, and like dodging and escaping him. And then once I got all the things in and the things started charging up, I was like, well, nothing left to do but shoot. So I just started unloading on him with flame rounds over and over and over and over and over again. And then he like the the railgun charged up. I was like in front of it. I was
Oh
like, I need to get away
no.
from this thing. I need to get away from this thing. I need to get away from this thing. So I got like as far into the corner as I could, which still wasn't like enough.
Yeah.
But he like followed me, and I think he got hit by it a little bit. I don't know if it cooked him at all. But as soon as that happened, he just kind of was like, "Well, I guess I'll take my fat ass over here," and started wandering over to presumably that tyrant corpse.
Mm.
And then the thing charged up and shot again, and I was like, "Okay, I guess I did it."
Mission accomplished. I did think it was funny because when you go to leave the last fight, he like waddles his little like corpse ass out. He's like a slug
Oh
at this
yeah,
point. And she's like, "Oh, for fuck's sake!" And she turns. You have the option to turn around and shoot him a couple more times with the magnum. And of course, I did it because I was just so tired of this fucking guy.
yeah. Fuck this guy.
So tired of him at this point.
I did that as well.
Um, and she's like, "You want stars? I'll show you stars."
The
Um,
one
I
liner.
I do like that. Nemesis is the best of these recurring bosses. He definitely is. He's way cool.
He's iconic for a reason.
Um, but I'm just sick of it. Like
Well, we killed him, so it's okay.
he's gone now. He can't hurt me anymore. I'm thinking if there's anything else that I want to. Oh yeah, the opening to this has a lot of like crazy action movie stuff that I wanted to talk about a little bit. There's a bit where we see the RPD go out like and get just absolutely decimated.
Hmm.
Um, and they go out and they start like shooting into just a horde of random zombies, and they all have like assault rifles. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, that's only like 10 zombies. Like you could like that assault rifle should have killed all those guys like real fast.
Yeah, you couldn't take that out with an assault
I
rifle?
didn't even see them take down a single zombie.
Well, they weren't stars, so
I guess that's true. I do guess that's true. But also Vickers is stars and he kind of sucks ass.
he was just the pilot.
How many stars agents do we think Nemesis killed? Because we only know a couple of them, but we don't know how many there. There's that one picture in the Star's office that has like
Oh
probably
yeah, there's a bunch. Well,
like 12 or
gotta
18
remember,
guys.
you gotta remember how many died at the mansion.
Bravo team did get their ass handed to them, but I think that was like maybe 6 people.
Well, Bravo team and Alpha team, all the people in the like the start movie that didn't even make it to the mansion.
I think Alpha team only loses the one. Well, I think they only lose their one guy. There's one guy whose name I forget who gets eaten by the Cerberus like right off the bat, and I think everyone else makes it to the mansion from Alpha team. Because our helicopter pilot is Brad, so he makes it.
Yeah. You know what? This is worth a Google.
Shout out while you're looking this up. Shout out to Dario, the like random fat guy at the beginning of the game, who's just like, "I'm not going out there," and then he goes out there and dies. And you're like, "Why did you go out there?"
He went out there?
Yeah, he left like the shipping container that he was hiding in, and he gets
When did he
immediately.
do that?
So if you did you so you didn't go back to the warehouse afterwards.
I don't believe so.
So Dario hides in the little shipping container, and then when you come back to get like the parts for the train, if you go back to the warehouse, which I did because I wanted to save, uh, he's getting eaten by like 4 zombies, and then you can get into the shipping container and there's some like ammo and herbs or something in there, and he's written a note that it says A, he's a novelist, and B, he's like, I can't believe my bitch wife told me to come to Raccoon City.
Never go to Raccoon City.
Now go to Raccoon City. Um,
Um,
did you?
I have the answer. I have
Go
the
for
answer to how many
Yeah.
Stars members Nemesis killed. So it depends on if you play the original or if you play the remake.
Okay. Well,
in the original, 1.
just Brad.
Yeah.
Well, he kind of sucks then.
In the remake, 0.
He doesn't even kill Brad.
They gave Brad a more heroic death in the remake, which I kind of thought was lame. But
Oh, okay.
whatever.
So, if you picked up all 30 of the notes in order,
Oh,
it had to be in order. If you picked up 14 before 13, it doesn't work. You unlock an extra note called Jill's diary, and
Does
it's
it
the
say-
most pointless thing in the world.
what does it say? What's her diary say? Let's read her diary live on air.
All right, here's the transcript. It says, "Wow, Brad is so handsome. I hope he doesn't get snaked by a nemesis." No. Okay, it goes August 7th. That's my birthday. 2 weeks have passed since that day. My wounds have been healed, but I just can't forget it. For most people, it's history now. But for me, whenever I close my eyes, it all comes back clearly. Zombies eating people's flesh and the screams of my teammates dying. No, the wounds in my heart are not healed yet. August 13th. Chris has been causing a lot of trouble recently. What's with him? He seldom talks to the other police members and is constantly irritated. The other day, he punched Elran of the boys' crime department just for accidentally splashing Chris's face with coffee. It's a good reason to punch a person, actually, I think.
Accidentally splashing his face with coffee.
I immediately stopped Chris, but when he saw me, he just gave me a wink and walked away. I wonder what happened to him. August 15th, midnight. Chris, who has been on a leave of absence for a vacation, in quotations, called me, so I visited his apartment. As soon as I walked into his room, he showed me a couple of pieces of paper. They're part of a virus research report entitled as simply G. Then Chris told me that the nightmare still continues. He went on to say that it's not over yet. He's just running through. He's just hitting emotes. Ever
Yeah.
since that day, he has been. He's just been fighting all by himself without rest, without even telling me. August 24th, Chris left town today to go to Europe. Barry told, which is I guess that note that you find in two.
Yeah.
Barry told me that he would send his family to Canada and then he would follow Chris. I decided to remain in Raccoon City for a while because I know that the research facility in this city will be very important to this entire case. In a month or so, I will be joining them somewhere in Europe. That's when the real battle begins. So I guess she didn't do that because there's the one note in two that's like everyone from the last game is in Europe, going to the main Umbrella facility, and I guess apparently Jill, but maybe also Barry didn't either because he shows up in a helicopter. I don't know. So just Chris and Rebecca, I guess, run off to Europe together.
I don't even know if Rebecca does, because I believe I think that's where we're headed next.
I don't know. I
Well,
couldn't
no,
tell you.
not Europe, but it's where the fuck did it take? You know what? We'll see when we get
But
there.
yeah, so if you do this highly specific thing and collect all 30 notes in order, you get this completely useless diary page that doesn't even say anything interesting.
Can you imagine playing video games back in a time where that was cool?
No.
This is
Even though
definitely
I
like
even though I was, no. Well, I don't have anything else to say about this game. Is there anything you want to throw in before we go to our patented review scale?
I feel like we kind of just like breezed through this one, not the game necessarily, but the discussion. There wasn't a whole lot of hiccups to mention other than it's Resident Evil again, but this time it's more action. Then I looked up the differences between the versions we played, GameCube and PlayStation, and other than like some technical differences, there's really the only thing I found was that there was slight censorship in the PlayStation one, and
Oh,
for the GameCube one, if a zombie attacks your feet and you kick him, his head comes off, but in the PlayStation one, he doesn't. I don't know.
that's weird because in the PlayStation version of 2, if you kick them, their head comes off.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, take that with a grain of salt. I mean, did when you kick guys, did their heads come off?
I don't remember if it ever came up, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, I know for a fact that when I was kicking dudes, their heads came off. But it's weird that the GameCube one allegedly had less censorship when the N64 Resident Evil 2 was like, you could change the color of the blood if you want because we know kids play here.
Yeah, weird.
It seems a little backwards.
Maybe they put out the GameCube and they were like, "We're edgy now. It's a box
Oh,
with a
it's
handle.
it's got corners you can poke your eye out.
Ooh, we're going through a phase, Mom. These bangs are me now."
Um, I'm looking forward to being done with random spiders showing up. I'm tired of the spiders, and I'm tired that now
Yeah.
you kill them and they drop little spiders now, and I hate it.
I will say I was disappointed by the lack of new enemy types in this because really the only one you get are the brain suckers and they're just lickers.
Yeah, like they're reskinned lickers. And speaking of reskinned, like technically there are the different hunters because there's the
Oh
hunter
yeah,
betas and the hunter gammas or something. I don't know.
the hunter blisters and the hunter frogs.
Well, I will say that in the remake they really lean into the new hunters, and they're the
The bee's
worst, and I
knees.
mean that in the scariest way.
Oh good.
They're just an enemy that can round a corner and then one hit kill you if you're not ready for it.
Oh,
So
I hate that. But if
just be ready.
Gravedigger's not in it, works out.
Yeah, Gravedigger's not in it.
Well, 10 out of 10. Hate that guy. Don't show me a worm again.
No more
Don't
worms.
don't talk to me or my worm ever again.
Don't talk to me or my worm. Would you still love me if I was a worm?
Oh,
No.
you know what? I do want to say something else actually. This game I think is the first one in the series that has actual puzzles. Because there's a couple where you actually have to like think
Yeah, you know
and
what?
like solve a thing.
There's a fair point. We haven't talked about the puzzles. There's math puzzles in this.
Is there?
There's
Oh, the like painting one.
there's the one where I thought was stupid, where you're in the hospital and you have to push the thing to where it was appropriate to the room next door.
Oh, yeah, that one took me a while to figure out. Because I was
I
like,
was
what am I supposed to do?
Yeah, it's no explanation there that I found. So
Like I saw the
um
4 little divots that you could push the thing into, but I was like, okay, well 2 of these seem impossible to push the thing to, so I'm just gonna put it in this corner, and then it unlocked, and I was like, all right.
Cool.
It was the first one I tried, but I was like, I don't know why I'm supposed to do this. There's
There's that music box puzzle.
the music box puzzle. There's the
I got mad at the music box puzzle actually
really. I am
because you find the music box downstairs, the
right.
one that's all out of tune,
I don't know what those are even
and
supposed to do.
it says it said, what did it say on it? It said like DUD DUD, and I was like, immediately I was like, I know this is Resident Evil. That's down up down down up down. That's an answer for something later. And so we find the thing, and I'm like, haha, down up down down up down. No, it's the opposite. You have to go up down up down up because
Oh, because that
the
one's
other
out of
one
tune.
was the other one was out of tune, and you have to put this one in tune. Even though when you play that one, it was also in tune, and I was like, well,
Yeah,
I okay,
I didn't even notice that the ones downstairs had anything on them. I went upstairs and there you move the pegs around, and when you put it in one, it sounds good, and when you put it in the other, it sounds bad. And that was how I solved
yeah.
that puzzle.
I thought we were trying to make it sound bad like the other one,
Oh, I mean that
which
would make sense.
sounds stupid, but that's what the game had led me to believe. But
That's I
no,
mean no, that's a
just
fair assumption.
make it sound good is what they
Um,
wanted.
but yeah, no. Then there's the water one where you have to like make the three graphs combine into the graph that's on the top, and then there's the painting one where like the different balls that you put in front of the different paintings like move the clock different. They are not the most amazing puzzles in the world, but
Mhm.
in 1 and 2 the puzzles are I found this key and I'm going to put it in this slot over here, whereas these ones make you actually do something. And that's
Yeah,
interesting. I don't necessarily think they're good puzzles, but we have some now, so this would
yeah,
be the first of the Resident Evil series that I would say actually has puzzles,
yep.
so that's
So
cool.
I'm glad we mentioned that. I think that that does us for Resident Evil 3.
Yeah. um
Um, Overall, I still had a fun time playing it because it's Resident Evil.
For sure. So on our patented and definitely not stolen review score scale, where 10 is a masterpiece, 9 is amazing, 8 is great, 7 is good, 6 is okay, 5 is mediocre, 4 is bad, 3 is awful, 2 is painful, and 1 is unbearable, where would you place Resident Evil 3 Last Escape?
I think so. We gave Resident Evil 1 an 8. No. Yes. Right?
I gave both of them an 8.
I think we gave
I
them.
think you gave 1 an 8 and 2 an 8.5.
Yeah. So I know that 2 is just a notch above in our ranking. I think this one goes a little bit back down where I didn't like it as much as 2, but it also had things that I liked better than the previous games. So it kind of bounces it back out. I think this one equals an 8 again for me.
Okay. Yeah, I think that makes sense. I definitely see where you're coming from with that. I'm not far off. For me, I think even though this
Gravedigger.
has Gravedigger, even though this game has things that I do think are better than anything else in the series, I think Nemesis is the best follower boss, repeated boss, whatever you want to call him, stalker maybe,
Mm-hmm.
and it has puzzles, which I think are cool. Those would be like the two positives that I would for sure give this game over the others. I think for me, this is definitively the worst of the three. I
I think that too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just not enough to actually lower it below 1, in your opinion, which is fine. I don't think it's much below 1 for me, but I do think I don't like the action movie feel of this. It's not what I came here for. A lot of the backtracking was really annoying to me. Gravedigger made me want to die. I think I would put this at a flat 7. I think for me this is good. I think
Hmm.
it holds up decently well compared to the other two, but I think if you put this on track with the other three, this is the one. Like, if I was going to go back and play back through all of these games again, this would be the one where I'd be like, oh, do I want to, though? Do I want to actually play
Sure.
this one again? Because it was like kind of a pain in the ass for me.
I see where you're coming from.
So I think for me, it's a flat 7. I think that's where I'm at.
That means our aggregate is a 7.5 out of 10, which is nothing to sneeze at. That is what, good plus.
Good plus. Yeah,
That is the same score we gave Perfect Dark.
I'm good with that.
So yeah,
Ugh. Well, we've done it, Sky. We can we can move back finally to the year
to the
2000.
to the comfortable year 2000.
To
We
the-
finished
to a-
the OG Resident Evil trilogy, which was our homework for getting to our next big release of 2000, which is Resident Evil Code Veronica.
Yes, well, a game that I have been warned is one of the bad ones. So
It's been a running joke between me and our
interested.
mutual friend Christian
Yeah.
for years since high school that it was bad because we like played it together. But again, that was a long time ago. I need to put hands on it and see what I think of it now.
Yeah, and I've never touched it, so I have literally I don't even know who the main character is. No idea.
This I mentioned before about Resident Evil 3 specifically. I called it a gap in my resume because I hadn't really played it ever at all.
Hmm.
So I'm glad that we have gone back and played the OG releases. This was a hell of a lot of fun. Good sidetrack on our channel.
Yeah, I agree. I hadn't played any of the old Resident Evil games before, and I hadn't played any of the remakes of them either. So this was definitely a glaring hole in my video game history. So it is important to have this one filled in.
It'll be fun when we get to the time of the remakes that now we have this baseline.
Yeah, for sure. And if you're also glad that we went back and played these old games, you can tell us in the comments on Spotify and YouTube how much you love us and how much you think we're probably handsome based exclusively off our voices because you don't know what we look like. You can follow the show on Twitter at rsr_pod, or you can follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at Daniel J. McGee.
And you can follow me at Blue Sky at Skylar8bit. And let me just tell you,
Yeah.
the answer is very handsome.
We're extremely handsome. We're literally like we could show up on Love Island and people would not even be shocked to see us in the villa. Wow. Anyway, everybody, until next time,
We'll see you around.
play more games.
Play more games. See you around's the other one.
You did the wrong one.
That's the other one.
Oh, that's
Shit!
so embarrassing.
The game should